How's it going? How you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I'm JakeyXYZ here, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into the week 2 roundup for the UBA season 4. We had some very interesting matchups here, a couple very one-sided ones, but also a couple that maybe could have gone a different way. So we'll be going over those later. But yeah, so let's. Well, actually, first, obviously, check out all the coaches in the description down below. Go subscribe to them so you do not miss a single match of the UBA season 4. The matches go up on Saturdays and Sundays. So yeah, be sure to check all these coaches out so you not miss a single match. And our bye week is coming up, but I will let you guys know when that is going to happen. I'm going to be doing a mid-season roundup for that as well, so there is going to be a roundup in that week. We'll just go over everyone's season so far, or going over the whole season so far. But regardless, check out all the coaches in the description down below if you guys want to see more of my beautiful face. Humble brag. Be sure to subscribe to this channel as well. But with all that being said, let's get right into the first matchup. We had Team Coin versus the Detroit Pyroars. The Team Coin walked away with a very dominant 6-1 victory over the Detroit Pyroars to improve to 2-0. I don't think Max played particularly well in this match. I think he could have done better. There were definitely some interesting decisions in there. We had a second week in a row where someone forgot about Magic Bounce. So yeah, that was rough. But yeah, it was honestly pretty one-sided. Alan, doorman coach of the Team Coin, kind of just kept control the entire time. The match started with hazards between Tyranitar and Cloudsire. They traded Stealth Rocks and Toxic Spikes, but I think ultimately the setups kind of just benefited Alan because he had Glare and Wheezing, who later on came in and cleared all the hazards anyway. So it was the beginning really heavily favored Alan again. He's been getting out to very strong starts in matches, so I think that's something definitely to keep an eye out for. Max maybe could have saved Cloudsire for later on, but I'm not really sure who he would have switched to. I'm not sure if it could have made a big difference later on, at least as like a sack, a sort of saving throw to save another Pokemon. But after that, he did bring in Quackaball. And while I didn't necessarily mind the Terra to, kind of allow Quackaball to go ham, he should have seen the Wheezing coming because the Quackaball set up a Swords Dance and Terra. And Wheezing came in haste and immediately just shut it down. And yeah, Quackaball was able to kill Wheezing and get the Moxie and the Aqua Step boost, but ultimately Kyogre came in and just killed that thing. Like it really didn't do enough. And I think if he wanted to do the Quackaball strat, which I didn't think was a terrible idea, he needed to get rid of that Kyogre sooner rather than later. But not Kyogre, Wheezing. He needed to get rid of Wheezing. Yeah, Wheezing saved him, saved Alan, getting rid of the hazards, and I feel like effectively shutting down the Quackaball before it could get too much going. But then Pinkerton came in. So after Kyogre Quackaball, there were a few switches around, and Pinkerton and Rotom Heat ended up being a matchup, and Pinkerton just did work. It took out Rotom Heat, and it was a prolonged face-off between it and Lugia. It did a great job shutting down and effectively ending the match by handing just all the momentum to Alan. There was none on Max's side. How Max's Pokemon were built could have changed things. I mean, his Lugia, even if it had multi-scale, the Stealth Rocks were up anyway, so its multi-scale would have broken, but I thought that was a little bit of a talking point there. I thought it was a great job from Alan with the Psychic Noise on Espeon for the Skeldurge, because we all know the Skeldurge loves to freaking heal. So Espeon using Psychic Noise, for those of you who might not know, that does prevent healing. It allowed the Skeldurge to just be taken care of more easy. However, I forget what move Skeldurge used. I want to say it was Will-O-Wisp. They got Magic Bounce back. Like I said, someone forgot about Magic Bounce again. He could have easily gone for the kill there, took out Espeon, and at least made this a 6-2. I mean, at that point, you could have at least gone for the kill, got the 6-2, and then who knows what Skeldurge would have done beyond there. Probably would have died, to be honest, but, yeah, again, you at least make this a 6-2, but it doesn't. It uses Will-O-Wisp. It gets Magic Bounce back, obviously. Skeldurge can't get burned, but it's effectively a waste of a turn, and Espeon's able to take it out. Max brought in Walking Wake, set up Sunny Day for the Photosynthesis, but honestly, I just wouldn't have brought Sunny Day against Alan, to be honest, because he's got so many weather Pokemon that it's like, he can easily shut that down. That's exactly what happened. He brought in Alolan Ninetales, shut down the sun, got rid of Photosynthesis, and ended the match. I just thought Alan controlled this match through and had another match with some great prep. I mean, it's pretty clear this guy knows what he's doing. Do I think Max played well? No, not necessarily, but Alan made sure there was really no way for Max to be in the match anyways. We're definitely going to keep an eye out for Alan. I'm going to obviously talk about him a little more in the predictions, but if his Pokemon, that was another talking point. His Pokemon, I noticed it in week 1, and I wanted to bring it up here because I obviously didn't bring it up in the week 1 roundup, but I didn't realize that Alan's not always going to bring weather and terrain because his Pinkerton last week didn't have electric terrain or electric surge, whatever the ability is called. So I didn't realize that. I thought every single one of those Pokemon that is capable of setting up something would always have it. So that definitely changes things with how Alan might approach his team. You know, he might not bring a certain weather, a certain ability just to make sure he can, you know, gain a better advantage or things like that. So I didn't realize that was also a thing, but you know, that is definitely a talking point. But yes, Alan showed great prep, just great momentum, and he controlled this match all the way through. It was a fantastic win. GG's to him. Improves to 2-0. So that's really good. Next up, we got the Snowdonian Frosmoths versus the Montebello Morpeko. The Montebello Morpeko walked away with a 6-4 victory over Snowdonian Frosmoths to improve to 2-0, joining the undefeated club. This was an interesting one, to say the least. I thought the beginning leaned a little bit towards Jakey, especially when Carlos made a huge misplay with his Rillaboom. But it started Garchomp Scizor versus King Gambit, and there was a couple switches because Carlos went straight to coach of the Montebello Morpeko, switched out to his Inferno to try and scare the Scizor, which is exactly what happened. And Jakey, basically, it ended up being Garchomp versus Primarina. But the Garchomp had already Terra grounded, and it took out the Primarina. I don't think that was necessarily misplay. There's nothing Carlos really could have done at that point. It was kind of a rough one where, like, it was done. Like, it was going to die no matter what. So then I believe, Carlos went in with Rillaboom to finish off the Garchomp, which I was surprised. That thing did not take that hit well at all. I know Garchomp's not exactly bulky, but I didn't expect it to just go down like that. But then Jakey brought in the Volcarona. And I thought Volcarona was a good switch for Jakey, and he goes ahead and goes for the Quiver Dance. But I thought what Carlos did well is he Terra Poisoned Rillaboom, which I was like, okay, cool, that works. He Acrobatics, it hurt the Volcarona really bad. And instead of going for the double Acrobatics, knowing he was going to take another hit, he chose to Grassy Glide. Volcarona obviously quad resist that, took it like nobody's business, and it was able to kill the Rillaboom. And that was really unfortunate because Carlos just kind of threw A, Rillaboom, B, his Terra. So that was a really rough one where I was like, Jakey might have a little bit of momentum here, because especially with the next turn, which is a huge freaking RNG moment, Carlos sends in Dragon Pole, it hits the Volcarona, it kills the Volcarona, but it gets burned because of Flame Body. That was rough. I think Dragon Pole definitely could have done some more work in this match, but it did do enough. It landed, a couple good hits on the Flutter Mane, or a good hit on the Flutter Mane that allowed King Gambit to come in and finish it. I honestly thought Jakey just should have, because Jakey, they both clicked a setup move. So Flutter Mane versus Dragon Pole, Jakey clicked Calm Mind, I believe, and Carlos clicked Dragon Dance to try and make up for that damage loss. But honestly, I thought Jakey should have just gone for the kill, because he just took unnecessary damage right there. He didn't need to take that hit. I know that's Jakey's MO, but in that moment, he definitely should have just gone for the kill. But then, yeah, King Gambit was able to come in with the Sucker Punch and finish out the Flutter Mane. And then another bit of RNG. This was kind of like a karmic return for Carlos, because it was Garganacl versus King Gambit. Garganacl was actually going to use Body Press on King Gambit, but King Gambit went first, used Iron Head, and flinched the Garganacl. So King Gambit stayed alive and avoided that. Would it have lived? Probably not. So that flinch was definitely really nice. That was really nice for Carlos. But then, yeah, so Garganacl goes down, Scizor comes in, Inferno gets sent in. At that point, Jakey just says, I'm just going to attack. Like, there's no point running with the Scizor. Inferno kills it, obviously. Fire type versus a quad, weak to fire type. And Jolteon turns around, kills the Inferno, but it was never going to be able to do too much work. It went down to King Gambit after that, because he was going to have to attack eventually. The Sucker Punch was always going to kill. I thought Carlos played well in this match to keep the momentum in his favor. I thought he was honestly fairly methodical throughout. A couple mistakes, like I said, and RNG definitely played a bit of a factor for the second week in a row. Like I said, I think he misplayed his Terra and his Rillaboom, but at that point, the momentum, despite being against him, I thought at that point he ultimately managed to regain control pretty quickly and, you know, obviously go on to win the match 6-4. So another 6-4 for him. So maybe that might become a trend. We'll see this week. If you guys didn't know, we're playing each other. So, so yeah, it was a good one. I thought Carlos did well to recover from the momentum loss and build back. Sorry for the screaming. And build back and do a good job. And he pulled off the win. Our third match of the week was Miami Palafins versus the Colchester Celtics. Obviously, both of these teams were coming off of a pretty hefty loss, so a rebound was absolutely necessary for one of these teams. They need that momentum. Then again, I'll talk about it a little later, but the Pidge buff is a thing. But Pidge did fall. The Colchester Celtics did fall to the Miami Palafins and the LionheartPlays 6-4. It was an interesting matchup. I think much like Umberto's matchup last week, LionheartPlays' matchup last week, a couple of different decisions. This match could have been different. It could have definitely gone a different way, but I still thought LionheartPlays did a fantastic job of controlling this match when push came to shove. And he definitely, mid-match, you could feel the momentum shift. I could feel it, at least. We were watching it together, and he didn't really believe it. He was like, you really think I got momentum here? I was like, I really do. I think, because at that point, I was like, what did I say? I think I said, you're going to win, aren't you? He was like, you really think so? You think I have momentum? I was like, yeah, I really do. So regardless, Pidge... So Myrtle's plan, I believe, was to lead Cinderace. That's what it seems like. Cinderace was going to come in and just kind of do work against and just try to hit things. So I thought that was a good lead, but then Pidge hard countered it with the Mudsdale lead. So obviously that led to switches. But cheeky Pidge with his freaking Mudsdale setup. He had Stealth Rock and Roar. There's a little cheeky setup right there because obviously Stealth Rocks are hazards and Roar forces you to switch, so it's just constant damage and all this stuff. So cheeky Pidge, cheeky. But eventually ended up being a Dialga versus Corviknight matchup, which very unfortunately Dialga hit a crit Thunderbolt onto the Corviknight, killing it, making things a little bit tougher for him. I don't know if the Corviknight would have killed Dialga. But it definitely would have left it in a very vulnerable state, allowing Umberto to come in with something to finish it. But unfortunately, that was just not the case. Umberto decides to go to Cinderace at one point, also falls to Dialga, but it was just a necessary death for a clean switch, because then Chien-Pao came in and finished off Dialga. And then it became a Chien-Pao Zacian showdown. Chien-Pao ended up switching, and Zacian went for a Steel Terra, which... according to Pidge, was a mistake, which if you watch the video, it was like, it's pretty clear he didn't mean to keep the Terra, but honestly, I didn't think it was a bad Terra. I when I was watching, I was like, oh, Steel Terra, that's pretty smart. Yeah, Terra here. Yeah, okay, cool. Like, I thought it was a good idea. It's in front of Glamora, I believe, or well, it's in front of Chien-Pao at the time, but Glamora came in and took the hit anyways. And I was like, yeah, this just makes sense. Looking at the rest of his team at the time, which I believe was what, Mimikyu, Mudsdale, Espatha, and Chandelure, I was like, I honestly okay with this Terra, because the rest of them at that point, I was like, having looked at some of their Terras, I was like, I don't know if any of them would have benefited you. Maybe the Chandelure Dark Terra, but even then, like, I don't know. So yeah, I didn't think it was a bad Terra, but regardless, Zacian comes in, kills Glamora. Solgaleo then comes in and finishes off Zacian. But when Solgaleo touched the field is when I started to feel like momentum started to shift, especially when that Zacian went down, because at that point, both of Pidge's legends were dead. Both Dialga and Zacian were both dead. And Humberto still had both of his. He had Chien-Pao, basically, I believe, full health. Solgaleo, I believe, took a hit, but it was still like good to go. And yeah, so that's the point where I was like, oh, you win this, don't you? Because I feel like the momentum was very much on Humberto's side. You know, he's got both his legends in relatively good condition, and he decides to normal Terra in front of a Mimikyu, which obviously prevents the Shadow Sneak hit. But I guess Pidge forgot about the effect of Sunsteel Strike. It does go through the disguise, so Mimikyu just goes down immediately. I think maybe he could have played Mimikyu a little better there. But I mean, if I didn't think so before, at this point, once Mimikyu went down, I was like, yeah, okay, I think this match is done. I thought he was fully in the driver's seat. He had momentum. Chien-Pao was in the back, and it could do work, especially considering how he had the Chien-Pao built. But anyways, Mudsdale comes in to try and deal with the Solgaleo, but Palafin is brought in. Palafin dies to the Mudsdale, but it did a good job of just, you know, whittling Mudsdale down and making sure it could be finished easily. So Chen Pao did exactly that. Came in, killed the Mudsdale, just finished it off. And then Chen Pao just goes on a run. It got 3 straight kills. I thought it was interesting, like I mentioned, Chen Pao's build allowed it to live a Dazzling Gleam from Espathar, which is really important because Espathar obviously has speed boost, so he needed to be able to kill that thing and live and then kill that thing. So that's exactly what happened. Great job from Berto, great prep. Takes out Espathar, takes out Chandelure. Chen Pao racked up 4 kills in this match. Did a lot of work. I thought it was great. Like I said, a couple different scenarios in this match. Maybe it could have been a different scenario. I didn't think Mimikyu needed to die the Solgaleo, and Mudsdale. Oh, Mudsdale could have still potentially gotten up its rocks, which could have made a difference. Maybe Chen Pao dies to that Dazzling Gleam, and it falls to Solgaleo, which I think maybe Lionheart still wins the match, but it just makes things a lot closer. The crit of the Corviknight as well also changed Murto's approach in this match. So a few different scenarios, a few different talking points. Like I said, Mudsdale Stealth Rocks, Mimikyu dying to Solgaleo, the crit Thunderbolt. Like, there's a few things where, a couple things go differently. Who knows? Could have been a different match, but ultimately it's the Miami Palafins who get the rebound win, a much needed rebound win. But the Pidge buff is in full effect. For those of you who might not know, PidgeGaming, he's very well known for starting the season, 1-2, 0-3, and then just turns it around and accelerates to 1,000 and steamrolls everyone on his way to a championship. So it's the Pidge buff. He needs to not do well in the first 3 or 4 weeks, and then he always turns it up by the second half of the season and in playoffs. So yeah, I'm not concerned for Pidge at all. He might be 0-2, but he's a very strong 0-2. I'm not counting him out at all. Last up, we have the Inferno versus the Walton Wingulls. This is fairly straightforward. I think the main talking point was Torment being the key in this match. For those of you who might not know, Torment, the move makes it so you can't use a move twice in a row. And for those of you also might not know, Nate is only bringing Metrodome, so that means I was able to force the struggle out of his Pokemon. The other major talking point is Nate got a little bit lucky in this match. You got a flash of luck. He got a Moonblast from Lucario onto my Grimmsnarl. Did too much damage for my liking. It did a lot of damage. It was like 60% or something. And that was the only lucky guy in this match. That was it, really. Archuludon came in, killed Lucario, killed Tornadus. It probably could have kept going, but I wanted to finish the match as quickly as possible because it was in front of Electivire. It wasn't killing it fast enough, so I just went straight to Gliscor, killed Electivire. And then eventually, like, there was a few switches that happened and stuff. I had a Gliscor versus Tinkaton matchup. I went ahead and Terra Watered, Swords Dance, and finished the match. Killed Tinkaton, Mew, and Gengar. So Gliscor is going to have the MVP. For those of you who might be wondering, but both Chen Pao got 4 kills and didn't die, but so did Gliscor. They both got 4 kills and didn't die. The next tiebreaker is HP, and Gliscor had much more HP than the Chen Pao. So Gliscor is going to walk away with the MVP this week. Whoop whoop. Yeah, it was a 6-0 sweep. It was a 6-0 sweep. Unfortunately, unless luck is on Nate's side, I'd expect to see some more scorelines like that this season. Unless someone wants to, match Nate's team and go for metronome, we'll see. Go bar for bar with them. But otherwise, it's not pretty. Yeah, luck is still not on Nate's side. Fortunately, for him, Torment's not a common move, so he doesn't have to worry about it too much. But I still don't think it'll make much of a difference. Like I said, if he's gonna win a match, he's gotta have 100% luck on his side, man. We got a taste of what luck looked like going his way. But then we got the complete opposite because he got Scale Shot on my Grimmsnarl with Mew. So his luck, it just has to be not even damn. I have it written in my notes. His luck has to be damn near 100%. No, it needs to be 100% on his side to even have a sniff at a win. It's nothing on Nate at all. This is just RNG. Like it's just fully rolling the dice. It's nothing against Nate, nothing against the coach. It's just metronome. That's how metronome works. It's all RNG. So that's it. His luck just has to be 100% on his side, but it was not in this match. It was for the first turn, and it had me a little worried. But I was able to pull it off and improve to 2-0. Join the undefeated club. So those are your week 2 matchups. That is how they went down. Again, some interesting talking points. A couple dominant matches, a couple closer matches. And those closer matches definitely had some what-if scenarios in there. So good, a decent mix of matches this week, but let's talk about our week 3 matchups. First up, I don't know why I put that voice on. We have the Detroit Pyroars, who are 0-2 versus the 1-1 Snowdonian Frosmoths. With the way Max is playing, I mean, I don't know. His team can easily punish Jakey's if Jakey tries to set up too much. He tries to get a little carried away with that. I think he can easily punish Jakey quickly and succinctly. And this is a very, you know, not so close match. But I've seen more flashes from Jakey than I have from Max this season. Max just... his team's good and it's there. It's just it's not. He's not really putting it together well enough yet. I do expect him to pick it up at some point. So because his team's too good. His team's too good for it to not, you know, put up some really good. To just do some really good work. His team's too good for that. So I'd expect him to pick it up at some point. But I think because of what I've seen from Jakey, I know what he's capable of. I know the team very much suits him. I'm taking Jakey in this one. I think he pulls it off. This match could get really out of hand between these two. It could. This could easily be a really like one-sided matchup one way or the other. I'm gonna say like 6-2, 6. I'm gonna say 6-3. I'm gonna say 6-3 Jakey. But I think this match has the potential to be extremely explosive. So that's a little bit of a scary one for both of them. But I'm taking the Snowdonian Frosmoths over the Detroit Pyroars. And that one next up, we have the Team Coin 2-0 Team Coin versus the Miami Palafins, who are 1-1. Miami Palafins grinded out a really good rebound win, showing us exactly what they're capable of, what we know LionheartPlays is capable of. But Allen has been coming out of the woodwork with some fantastic prep. Strong starts, I think, is the key to this match. If Humberto can get off to a stronger start than Allen, I think he can come up with a really good win here. Like I mentioned earlier, Team Coin, it's all about disrupting that flow. It's all about disrupting those connections. It's hard. It's not an easy task, but it's doable. And this is no disrespect to the two coaches before him, but this is a real test for Allen. If he beats Humberto, if he beats LionheartPlays, then you know what? I'm going to start having to pick him. It's just his team, man. I can't trust his team 100% yet. But if he wins this matchup, we're on the Allen train. We're on the Team Coin train over here. But for this one, I'm going to take the Miami Palafins. I think Humberto's a very methodical battler. He'll find ways to work around Team Coin. He'll just do some good work and actually pose a really good challenge to Team Coin. Obviously, Pidge is a really good battler, and so is Max. It's just Pidge kind of blew his prep, and Max just didn't play to his full potential in that match. So I think right here, we're going to see LionheartPlays actually give him a serious challenge. And like I said, if Team Coin wins, we'll be on that Team Coin train. But I expect this one to be a close one, like a 6-4 or so. But I'm going to take the Miami Palafins. I think LionheartPlays gets his second win in a row, and the Miami Palafins will improve to 2-1. Yeah. Next up, we have the Montebello Morpeko versus the LA Inferno. Both teams 2-0. Potentially our final undefeated matchup of the season, depending on how Team Coin does against Miami Palafins. But one of these teams is walking away 3-0. One team is walking away 2-1. For those of you might not know, the coach of the Montebello Morpeko is my brother-in-law. I'm pointing this way because we live together. He's over there. So yeah, it's always a fun matchup with him. This is going to be an interesting one. Carlos has played relatively well, I mean, through his first two matches, both 6-4s, both, you know, decently close, but momentum, he's done a really good job of holding momentum, and if he loses it, he does a great job of recovering. So it's definitely an interesting matchup between the two. I'm gonna back myself because I refuse to lose to him. I know I lost to him last season, but you know, it's just, yeah, I had to give him one. But yeah, I'm gonna back myself in that one. But I think Carlos is really gonna pose a serious challenge, like we talked about in the preseason roundup. This is easily his best team he's drafted. So maybe not easily, but it's definitely up there with one of the best teams he's drafted so far. I'd say top 2 for sure. But so that's gonna make it for a really interesting challenge. But I'm gonna back myself in that one because, again, I refuse to lose to that man. But that'll probably be the match to watch this week, I would expect. If not that one, then the Miami Palafins versus Team Coins, because our final matchup is the Welsh Druddigans, or it's because I wrote that off the schedule. The Colchester Celtics, who are 0-2, versus the Walton Wingulls, who are 0-2, or versus Metronome, depending on how you would look at it. Yeah, not much to be said here. I'm taking the Colchester Celtics to get their first win of the season. Maybe not, you know, the biggest confidence boost for Pidge, but hey, win is a win is a win is a win. If this somehow turns out to be a close match, maybe that won't help Pidge's confidence too much, but then again, he's fighting luck. That's what's kind of fun about playing Nate. Fun and frustrating about playing Nate is you're playing against luck. So it's not like, if you get really unlucky, if he gets all the right moves and all this stuff, then, it's not entirely your fault. But I think Pidge gets his first win of the season. Unless he decides to, I know they're friends, so who knows? Pidge might try to match the metronome and have some fun with it too. So we'll see. But I think Pidge's, even if he does that, I think Pidge's team is better for the metronome as well. More bulky Pokemon, stronger Pokemon. So even if that were to happen, I'd say Pidge would still win, just off of raw power. But yeah, I'm taking Pidge to get his first win of the season right there. So my 4 picks for this week: the Detroit Pyroars versus Snowdonian Frosmoths. I'm taking the Frosmoths. Team Coin versus the Miami Palafins. I'm taking the Palafins. The MON Morpeko versus the LA Inferno. I'm taking the LA Inferno. And the Colchester Celtics versus the WAL Wingulls. I am taking the Colchester Celtics to get their first win of the season. Let me know your predictions down below. Let me know who you think are going to win. Let me know what you thought of week 2 at UBA. Yeah, a lot of mishmash matchups here. It was a very, very up and down week, but I'm looking forward to week 3. We'll see how that goes. And again, let me know your predictions down below, what you thought of week 2. And be sure to check out all the other coaches in the description. Subscribe to all of those beautiful people. And subscribe to this channel. Follow, subscribe as necessary. It's all greatly appreciated. And of course, be sure to share yourselves with our friends, family, and let me know little Hermit right that. See you guys in the next one. My voice is completely shot. Bye.